conducting this program is very inspiring. The traditional Prime Minister of the Zulu Nation and monarch, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, greetings to you, Baba. And the Queen Mother of the Royal House, we salute you, Ma'am. As well as all members of the royal family here present, Namakhosi, and of course our host, His Worship, Councillor Bengu, His Worship, Councillor A.T. Ntuli, Mayor of King Cetshwayo District Municipality, and other councillors here present, the President of the IFP, Ngosi Sabisa, and all the leaders of the IFP here present, honorable members of the National Assembly, legislatures here present, our religious leaders, our spiritual leaders, umfundisi uCJ Mthethwa akasekho manje, nomfundisi uZondi, noMantshinga naye akasekho. Sasisebenza kunye ngesikhathini ezinzima sizama ukuthi wayethi kimi uNyambose uReverend CJ Mthethwa athi wayenze iphutha esekufuneka ukuthi silungise thina. That was the plea, constant plea, which was also reciprocated too by similar pleas from the old treason trialists over Cleopas and Sibande, Owathi, when the tombstone of Oliver Tambo was unveiled, ekhona uMntwana kaPhindangene, wathi uMntwana shenge sekuyisikhathi manje ukuthi ubuye ekhaya, eyisho nje ezidlangalaleni, kanti uqinisile futhi ngoba thina ke sasihlangana ngomvulo njalo masifike ama-ofisini kakhongolose siyothola sekhona ehleli lapha engana-appointment ubaba uMntwana. Masingena ke usengena nathi athi hey SG sesibadala manje siyohamba singakayilungisi lo, funeka siyisheshe siyilungise. So I'm saying this because I've been asked to give a reflection. Now, it is with a sense of profound appreciation that we thank the King Cetshwayo District Municipality for hosting us and honoring the work and leadership role of uMntwana kaPhindangene. Shenge, today we have a chance as your children and children of your example to pause in emulation of your great works and to give thanks to you for the opportunities you have given us to make our own humble contributions to the ongoing struggle for the upliftment of the people. As we march together, side by side, in the construction of our constitutional democracy, the enduring debt we owe to you and your generation who have mentored us can oftentimes appear quite distant. Being so inspired with the spirit that you pioneered and so intent on continuing the struggles that you led, we need to be reminded at regular intervals to pause and to give thanks to the elders of the struggle. Together with your peers, you stood at the helm of ordinary men and women who waged relentless struggles against colonialism and apartheid. Men and women who understood only too well that there would be no reward exclusive to themselves except that the principles they held dear would be realized in practice. Philosophers define freedom as a recognition of necessity. Hence, even in the attainment of freedom, so hard-won, reveals the prospect of further struggle to defeat the stubborn scourge of disease, ignorance, homelessness, and poverty, which continue to blight our land. As we pursue these objectives, we are privileged, Shenge, to have you within our ranks, to work with your guidance, to have the burden of struggle lightened by the inspiration of your example. Indeed, we are privileged to have you, Shenge, within our ranks, and this alone may be said, and I say it with the most entire conviction of its truth. You are a man of many parts, capable of answering the multifaceted demands of life. Like an aquifer in a land scarce of reason, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi is a bedrock of South Africa's history and journey to democracy, laden with sense and time-honored insight. This voice certainly is a rare and prized quality from a leader who neither takes for granted his duties to the people and the nation, nor laments over his endurance in the ongoing struggle for a just and democratic society. Such patience and perseverance that has come at a premium. No matter the ripeness of age, we are often able to be clear-headed and sure about the meaning of aspects of our lives only because we can rely on the memory of others. And it is within the moments of despair and loss, the moments of solidarity and success, and the moments of our collective commitment that we may compile and accumulate the memories that define our historical mission. For Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi and his peers, as it should be for all of us, the prize of freedom is not a distant memory, but most definitely an activity of eternal vigilance. Gathered here today, we may assert that this ongoing watch over the liberties of humankind becomes an ever-expanding machine of memory. But how do we fuel the engine of the mind to keep remembering, and more so to sift through the rubble of the past so that we may continue to learn from each other? For it is within these privileged moments to pay tribute to active leaders that we gain strength and purpose of memory and community, where learning itself is a monument. Monuments of shared hope, monuments of goodwill, monuments that acknowledge the courage and conviction of a leader such as uMntwana wakwaPhindangene. For in fact, he has been in harness for 3 scores plus 10. eBhayibhelini ke mawuphila isikhathi esinjenge 3 scores plus 10, but beyond that you are living a bonus. So uShenge is blessed, and therefore for him to be in our midst is itself a blessing to all of us. As the founder and leader of iqhaza Cultural Liberation Movement, later iqhaza yenkululeko yesizwe, and later formed into a political party, iqhaza Freedom Party, from 1975 to the present, both Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi and the IFP have been a key and vibrant part of the revolving history of our nation in remarkable ways for the past 48 years. In my message of support on the occasion of the IFP's 40th anniversary on the 10th June 2015, in part I shared the following, and I quote myself, if you allow me. The leadership of the ANC understood that the homelands were not the creation of our people. These were created by apartheid in its endeavor to divide the people and balkanize the country. And so the leadership approached key leaders in all communities in the homelands and asked them to utilize the limited political space available to them to preach the message of the unity of the African people. Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi was one of those who consistently adhered to that directive. Yes, of course, while it is true that tactical differences did emerge between iqhaza and the ANC, specifically around economic sanctions and the armed struggle, which led to a great loss of life, we are glad to note with hindsight that as they say, is history. Things have changed. We have moved on, and that which set us apart has disappeared like morning mist. In this regard, our specific points of difference no longer exist because the choices to which they applied no longer exist, nor will they ever exist again quite the same way. Close quote. Even in his capacity as the president of the IFP, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi remained a loyal associate member of the ANC. To him, this posed no contradiction. Yes. He took every opportunity to engage with ANC programs, and in fact, he never missed any major event organized by the ANC. To cite a few examples, if there's a lecture on the life and times of Oliver Tambo, uMntwana wakwaPhindangene would be there in the audience. He would be there at the funeral of Cetshwayo President Reginald Oliver Tambo, and of course he'll also be there at the unveiling of his tombstone. He would be there at the funeral of Comrade Cleopas Nsibande. He would be there at the funeral of his Walter Sisulu. He would be there at the funeral of Comrade Joe Matthews, who also served on the leadership of the IFP. He would be there at the funeral of his Nelson Mandela. He would be there to pay tribute to his Andrew Mlangeni, with whom he served at the National Assembly for decades. And at one point, they were the two elders of the National Assembly. He would also be there at the launch of a booklet entitled Legacy of Freedom, which contained historical documents, the 1923 Bill of Rights, the 1943 African Claims, and the 1955 Freedom Charter. When I had the privilege and honor of serving as the Secretary General of the ANC, in 2007 we took a decision to commemorate the 40th year after Chief Albert Luthuli's passing. And we had agreed to compile a special edition of the ANC official publication entitled uMntwana. As the SG, I invited a number of leaders to contribute to this special edition. Shenge was one of a select group of prominent South Africans who were asked to pay tribute to Chief Albert Luthuli, and Shenge's tribute was printed in the publication alongside of those of President Nelson Mandela, who titled his tribute, "We Stand on the Shoulders of Giants." Dr. Albertina Luthuli, whose tribute was entitled "Devoted Heart and Soul to the Service of His Community." Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi's tribute entitled "A Man of Destiny and Vision." Nadine Godima's tribute entitled "The Man Simply Known as Chief." President Jacob Zuma's tribute entitled "A Visionary, a Man of Peace and a Unifier." Phyllis Naidu's tribute entitled "Freedom for His People was the only reward Baba sought." President Thabo Mbeki's tribute entitled "A Love of Humanity." Nkosi Phathekile Holomisa's tribute entitled "A Chief is Primarily a Servant of the People." Nomzamo Winnie Madikizela Mandela's tribute entitled "A Person of Immense Dignity and Noble Bearing." Major General Sandile Sijake, retired, his tribute entitled "A Life Dedicated to Mother Africa." Sbusiso Ndebele's tribute entitled "We Are the Children of Luthuli," and Dr. Matole Mutsekha's tribute entitled "Master Architect of Non-Racialism." These were the tributes that were published in a special edition. And I want to share with you the salient parts of uMntwana kaPhindangene's tribute. And I quote, "Inkosi Luthuli's death did not herald the end of his guiding presence in South Africa nor in my life. When confronted with difficult decisions for myself, my party, my people, and our country, I often asked myself, what would Nkosi Luthuli had advised me to do? He has remained my mentor long after his death. I remember how Nkosi Luthuli often told me to recognize right from wrong by asking myself, what would be good or bad for the poorest of the poor in my community and for their children and grandchildren? This elegantly simple yet profound benchmark has guided me ever since. I do so wish this truth could be embraced by everyone who wields power. Close quote. These are the words that uMntwana kaPhindangene used partly to honor the memory of Chief Albert Luthuli. And as we all know, Benjamin Franklin once said, all men can stand adversity, but if you want to know the true character of a man, give him power. It is only once someone wields power that you know their true character. Today, South Africa is a democracy that requires the eternal vigilance as displayed by the enduring work and spirit of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi to attain the ideals of democracy for the common benefit. And in order for this democratic journey of our country to grow from strength to strength, it will take not only the watchful eye of all people, but also the power of memory and the moments we take to reflect on the lives of those who devoted their entire lives to this shared destiny. Our country faces complex challenges of varying magnitude. However, with the unveiling of this marvelous statue today and the renaming of these offices, after uMntwana wakwaPhindangene, this will remain a symbol whose potential for all citizens to play a significant role in the evolution of our system of democracy, we can, with confidence, that the inspiration comes from the example of uMntwana wakwaPhindangene, and may ensure that our country continues to develop into a united, democratic, non-racial, non-sexist, just and prosperous nation. Shenge, from your deep well of knowledge and experience, it is only for us to gain as we plunge into the many lessons we have to learn from your extraordinary life and contributions. My wife, Gugu, and I have fondest memories together with you, and like others, we are sincerely touched by your benevolence and goodwill. With gratitude and elation, we happily join this unveiling ceremony, the renaming of the King Cetshwayo Municipality offices, with you, with your family, with your colleagues in the IFP, with your friends, Amakosi, and your comrades. Once again, let me thank the district municipality for affording us this opportunity to convey our appreciation and thanks to our elder and leader. uMntwana wakwaPhindangene always referred to me as his leader simply because I happen to serve as Secretary General of the ANC. But mina-ke, I was told by indlela ikuzokaba phambili, so I always would kneel at his side to seek advice and guidance, and therefore he remains my leader. And as we reflect, we basically hold a mirror to ourselves, because this mirror has to show whether we measure up to the stature, integrity, honesty that Mangosuthu Buthelezi represents. And so it's a mirror. Reflection is a mirror to ourselves. And if we don't measure up, we better go for confessions on Sunday to to our parish parishioners, parish priests, to confess all of our sins. Lastly, as I step down, Baba, we wish you more fruitful years, good health, and Godspeed. Thank you very much for your time.